Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to week 5 of the Blitz Player Props Release Show presented by EV Analytics. I am Keith Eyster, Ice819, over at RotoGrinders and Scores and Odds. I am joined, of course, by the man, the Geno Smith whisperer himself, the creator of the Blitz projection system. We've got Derek Carty, of course. Derek, what's going on?
Not much. Sick the last couple days, which hasn't been fun. But, we're coming off a perfect week last week, super profitable on the season. So markets don't look, great at the moment. We don't have as many as we had last week, but I do think we have a couple good ones.
Yeah, I think we've got a couple good ones as well here. Of course, we can always add some later on if we get some more value open up here leading up to Sunday.
Yeah.
Make sure to keep an eye on.
We see some new props come out on Fridays. So we'll definitely be tweeting stuff out if anything else looks good.
Yep, absolutely. Just recapping last week real quick, like you mentioned, a perfect 4-0 week. Geno Smith, the Blitz absolutely loved him. Loved the game environment in general. We saw 93 points, I believe it was, in the game. Geno Smith led the offense to 48 points. We took him over 22.5 completions. He completes 23 of 30 passes for 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. Geno Smith is just playing out of his mind. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, according to things like passer rating, Pro Football Focus grade. It's just unbelievable.
Everything. It's
yes.
Like no matter what you look at, he's like in the top 3 or 4 of everything this year.
Yep, absolutely. He is playing incredible. He, of course, has the elite weapons there in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Good for Geno Smith. Love to see that.
Yeah, I was actually a little concerned with the completions because he was just balled out early, and like he might not have had to even like attempt enough passes to get there because the yardage was piling up. But he got there, which was good.
Yeah, luckily the Lions, their defense is awful, but their offense is actually pretty efficient. Even though they were missing some guys, the Lions were able to stay in that game and really push the pace. So we got there, worked out. Geno just continues to play really well. The second one we had was Jalen Hurts, under 21.5 completions. One of the things you mentioned for this prop was the weather that was potentially there. We saw that play out in a big way. Nasty weather. He dropped back just 25 times, completed 16 of them, easily stayed under 21.5 completions. But you had winds over 20 miles an hour, rained the entire game. Just a nasty game. Great read on the game by you. Easily hit the under there on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, definitely a good one. Weather is huge, and it's just not accounted for properly by anybody, even these lines. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of weather spots this week, so we don't have that edge really, but maybe reports will change in the next day or two.
Absolutely keeping an eye on it. Our third prop of the week was Joe Burrow, under 24.5 completions. They had the short week, Thursday night football game. He went 20 of 31, another easy under for us here on Joe Burrow.
Yeah, everyone talking about how bad the Dolphins defense is after 3 weeks. Like, we can't have that kind of certainty about defenses. It's defenses are super noisy, using 3 or 4 or whatever. It's just bad. Like, that's like the least important part of a matchup. And if I recall, that one was projected to be a really slow-paced game. So I think the volume was the main thing there, which wound up being the case.
Yep, absolutely. And our final prop of the week, this one was looking a little bit dicey there for a minute. Melvin Gordon fumbles early in the game. He aggravated an injury that he had been dealing with. Javonte Williams, under 12.5 carries. He got 9 carries in the first half. Unfortunately, his first carry of the second half, he ends up with a knee injury. He's going to miss the rest of the season. Never like to hit a prop this way, but it is part of football. It's a violent game. That's why under bets are generally the more profitable side. A little bit of fortune for us here to hit this one, I think. But they didn't run the ball very much in the game. They trailed the whole game. I think it was the right read as far as game script go. Just the Melvin Gordon fumble and him barely playing at all in the first half, I think was leading to making this one look a little bit scary. But we did get the under here on Javonte Williams carries.
Yeah, definitely not the way I expected to hit it. But again, that injury risk is part of the appeal of under bets. even though we got lucky, that he got hurt. We did get unlucky earlier in the game. Like if Melvin hadn't fumbled, Melvin hadn't gotten hurt, like the split would have been more even. They only ran the ball 16 times anyway. So like you do their normal 50-50 split, like he's going nowhere near 12 and a half carries.
Absolutely. That puts us 4-0 on the week. Overall, through 4 weeks on the season, we are 9-3, up 6.1 units for a 44.1% ROI. So a fantastic start to the season here. Really excited about what we've got for you guys week 5.
Yeah, me too.
All right, good stuff. Let's get into it. We are heading over to Bet365 for our first prop bet here.
Yep. 365 has the best line, but it's going to be commonly available. I think DK, MGM, Bet Rivers, like anywhere is going to have, I think, a very similar number to this.
Yes. Yep. Widely available, slightly better number here on 365, but yeah, definitely. I think it's minus 115 at some of the other books. Just like it's still a good bet at those books if you don't have 365 available.
Yep.
All right. So we are looking at the game down in New Orleans, and the Seattle Seahawks are coming to town. We've got the game in the Dome. The Saints are 5.5 point favorites in this game, a pretty healthy 46.5 point total. We are going to be looking at the quarterback passing yards market. And we are, of course, going right back to our man, Geno Smith here. Looks like we are going over 241.5 passing yards. Minus 110 is what the number is. And like I mentioned, minus 115 in other spots, still absolutely fine. Best number here on Bet365, Geno Smith, over 241.5 passing yards.
Yep. This is very similar to last week where Geno is possibly like a legitimately good quarterback right now. Like we said, like he is like top 3 in everything. And the stuff that he does best, complete passes, he's the league leader in completion rate. That's like one of the most stable quarterback stats. Like that's the thing that we can buy into the most. And that's what he does. So I like Geno. I like that he's in a dome here. I like that this projects as a fast-paced game. New Orleans has played quite fast this year. So this is a really good pace-up spot. Yeah, the Saints defense, sure, whatever. But I think between the talent of Geno and his receivers, and the Seahawks are passing more and the fast-paced, and that's just they're 5.5 point underdogs here, so it should be a passing game script, in the second half for them. I like this quite a bit. We've already seen this line move. It opened last night at 232.5. It's already up to 241.5. If we could have gotten in earlier, that would have been great. But the Blitz is still projecting over 300 yards again for Geno this week, as it has the last 2 weeks when he's gone over 300 yards. And so over 241.5 is still just monster value.
Yep, way too low. Tougher matchup, like you said, but we still have the Dome, so no weather conditions to worry about. 5.5 point underdogs should get the right game script here for him to be throwing the ball a ton. Elite receivers, absolutely on board with this one. Get Geno Smith before the books catch up to just how well this guy is playing.
Yeah, and I think there's also, if you're looking for other stuff to bet, I think the Lockett and the Metcalf receiving yards props overs also look pretty good right now.
Awesome. All right. So next game, we are going to, let's see here. Sorry, I lost my sheet here. We are looking to Carolina. The San Francisco 49ers are coming across the country to Carolina. They are still favored by 6.5 points. We've got a 39.5 point total in this game. We are going over to the DraftKings Sportsbook for this one. Another prop that is pretty widely available. You can find it on several books at this same number as we've got over here on DraftKings. So we are going to be looking at the rushing attempts market here. Right, there we go. And we are looking at Christian McCaffrey over 13.5 carries. We can get that at even money here.
Yep. I mean, this one, there's nothing special about it. It just projects as having pretty good value. The bat is projected, or the Blitz rather, is projecting close to 16 carries for McCaffrey. We're getting this at even money. It's really just about him being Christian McCaffrey. He gets a big share of his team's carries. He's going to get, 75 to 80% of the carries for the Panthers. And that's kind of all it comes down to. His rushing yards props have moved since they opened. The carry market usually opens later, so I'm kind of anticipating this is going to, shift upwards as well, the same as the rushing yards did. So for now, I mean, this is kind of the opening number basically, and I think it's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Christian McCaffrey, one of the best roles in football. There aren't many bell cow backs left, but McCaffrey has this backfield pretty much all to himself. 13 and a half carries, 6.5 point spread, I think is a little wide just because the 49ers traveling across the country. It's not an early game where we do tend to see some production slip from the team making the long distance travel. But I do think that's a point against San Francisco here. Carolina getting to stay at home. San Francisco, obviously a tough defense, but this offense runs through Christian McCaffrey. Baker Mayfield hasn't played well. They need McCaffrey to perform well to have a chance to win this game.
Yeah, the game script is not ideal here. You'd prefer them to be a favorite, but it's the Panthers. How often are the Panthers a favorite? Like McCaffrey's going to get his work no matter what. And, I'm fine with that.
All right. Very good. Like I said, we just have the two for everyone this week. We will definitely keep an eye on the markets. Like Derek said, tomorrow there are generally some more props that are released and things like that. So be sure to keep an eye on the RotoGrinders Twitter account. Derek, you'll I'm sure retweet it as well.
Yep.
So definitely be keeping an eye on Twitter, either at Derek Carty or at RotoGrinders. You will be able to see us tweet those there. But we've got two really good ones for you all so far. Anything else before we get on out of here this week, Derek?
No, I think that's about it.
All right. Absolutely. Look to keep that profitability streak alive. We'll appreciate everybody joining us, and we will catch you next week.